Hi everyone! For those who are new here, welcome. My name is Nejla and this channel is all about exploring life as an expat in Europe, in Switzerland. I will be sitting down with friends, fellow expats who has fascinating stories about exploring life here in Switzerland. And I hope you will enjoy listening them and sharing their stories. And we will be starting with Philippe today.
Hello.
So let's start.
Let's go.
Philippe, what's your story? How did you end up here?
How did I end up here? Well, a little bit randomly. Well, not completely randomly. Well, let's start from the beginning. I was born, first of all, in France, in the south of Paris. And that was many, many years ago. Not too many. And then, my parents were living there. I was born there, my brother before me, sister afterwards. And then when I was about a year and a half old, the family all moved back to Lebanon. And then over there I grew up all my life. I went through school and everything. Graduated from university with my bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. And then the time came to decide the next move. And I was clear in my mind. I wanted to do a master's degree. I was looking to have that in Europe. And I look around Europe. I look at the different programs. I see that one of the most attractive programs in Europe is happening at the ETH in Zurich. Very good university. That was my preferred choice.
One of the best.
I mean, I did look at the university rankings and it was always, close to the top worldwide. So that was very attractive. I also imagined that Switzerland could be a nice country for me, being a quiet, calm guy, very, following rules and stuff. And I was very fortunate to be admitted into the master's program in ETH in chemical and bioengineering. And then that was September 2013 that I started my studies there. And it's been many years since then. And so moving to Switzerland to ETH, that was not completely random. But then after I graduated, I was looking to find a job. And I was looking for a job anywhere in Europe, really. Mostly Western Europe was quite open. And kind of by chance, my first offer was an internship in Switzerland. And then I took it, of course. And then...
Would you consider this as a chance, really?
Huh?
Would you consider this as a chance, really?
It was my only application in Switzerland. I had an application in the Netherlands, and I was looking at Germany and France. This is the first one that worked. So I took it, and then I never imagined, long term where I would really be. I also didn't realize how much I would end up enjoying life in Switzerland. And, after this internship, I was again looking for new opportunities, and then I got the chance to stay in the company with another temporary contract, and then one thing led to another. I stayed more and more in the company until I got a full-time job, and then the more I stayed, the more I enjoyed it, and the more I made a point to stay here in Switzerland. And here we are, many years, 11 years later.
11 years. It's been 11 years.
Yes,
okay.
And a half, if you want to be.
Precise. Okay, quite a long time actually.
September this year will be 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It went by very fast.
Yeah, I agree.
You blink and then it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what was the first moment that you felt like, oh, I'm not in Lebanon anymore?
Probably day one. Just taking regular public transport.
Okay.
Breathing fresh air. For me, it was... So I was often visiting Europe growing up, especially France. So I was already a little bit used to Europe. In France, visiting family. I still have a lot of family in France. So it was not a complete cultural shock when I moved. But yeah, already being able to go around comfortably with public transport, that was already something instead of always going around by car. I think that was the first big thing. And then Zurich looks very different from Beirut. I grew up in Beirut. Beirut is chaos, has its charm for sure. but it's very chaotic. It's a lot of concrete buildings. Also, for example, walking around the old town in Switzerland, in Zurich, it just looks very different. It's also less crowded. The general feeling is different. And then I was also living alone for the first time. Before I was staying with my parents, and then I'm living alone, so I just buy the things to eat that I like. So there's some kinds of cheese that I really like. I just got much more of it.
The cheese basically made your day.
It has been making my day until now. Yes. The first 6 months also, that was a very good tip from a friend of mine. He told me you have to try the Ovomaltine, the paste, the little crunchy thing.
Yes.
The first 6 months I ate probably kilos of it.
For the ones who might not know, can you explain?
Yes, Ovomaltine is a very Swiss thing. It will taste very similar to cocoa paste. It now has, I think, a lot of cocoa in it anyway, but it comes originally from this malt plant, which back in the day, a long, long time ago, was also used as a medicinal supplement, I think. And now it's more like a kind of sweet. It's going to be very similar to
in my mind, it's really like an alternative to Nutella.
When I moved, I enjoyed it even more than Nutella.
Yeah, I agree. But
this
then
crunchy
it
thing
just got
is perfect. Now I haven't been eating it since a while. I ate so much of it in the beginning, but if I get now another pot at home, it's going to be going quickly. Yeah.
Okay, basically we can say that your very first impression actually was very positive.
Yes. Yeah, just in a way also the fact that no one just bothers you, no one cares really where you're from or whatever. When you, I don't know, in Lebanon you you have to go around in cabs in Beirut, and then the taxi driver is going to start talking, and then people ask you, okay, what's your name? And then they're going to try to figure out where you're from, which part of the country, so which religion, and they try to associate you with this maybe political party or this or that, and then people are a bit more into your business also. I felt in Switzerland that, I mind my own, everyone minds his own, and I thought that was good for once.
At the beginning, it was also challenging for me, being no one here. Like, you feel really no one. But then I was just like, actually, that's great. Yeah. You were really hoping for that for a long time.
Yeah. And then a big difference, obviously, is that in Lebanon, especially at that time, the situation in the country, security was not the best. And then moving here, it's like the worst possible news is so trivial. It felt so good, just so comfortable. Yeah. One thing that helped me also in the beginning is that I moved and I went to university, and then I'm in a university environment, a lot of new people, a lot of students. Socializing is then very simple, very quick. So I was never alone. So I moved, I quickly met people. I made a good group of friends who are still my friends until now. And that's very important. So I'm not alone. I have friends to go out with, to ask, how you're doing and whatever. Just what I needed.
We have to admit that already being into a social group is very supportive.
Extremely.
Because making friends in Switzerland, according to my experience, is not that easy also.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't have a kind of like an environment that you can automatically make.
I cannot compare it to other countries. I've not experienced this in another country. For sure, moving with university is much easier socially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then how did you handle the language barrier? And especially here, I'm looking for like funny miscommunication stories.
At the beginning, it's not really a miscommunication, but it was funny for me. I moved to Switzerland. I speak fluently already 3 languages. Growing up in Lebanon and with my family, I was fluent in French, in Lebanese Arabic, and then English. I learned English at school and university. I was quite comfortable in all 3 languages. I thought, I'm so cool. 3 languages, very good level. I'm going to come here. It's going to be so impressive for everyone. And then first week at university, I meet Swiss people and they're fluent in German, English, Italian, French. And that's 4 languages. And all of a sudden I'm like, what the hell? No. And Swiss German especially. So they will do both Swiss German and then standard German. And then next to this, I'm like, what the hell? What am I now? I felt so cool, and then I was crushed. It was very impressive, though, to see these people with, one more language.
this is really the biggest envy that I have.
Yeah.
Just because of the geographic situation that I have, they are already knowing 5 languages.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And then in university, studies were in English. It was quite an international environment, so English was the main language. So then it was not so much of an issue. We had some German courses also from the university that was very helpful to get started with the language. In the administration, at least the people that I faced were also very helpful and were able to deal with me in English. And then slowly I learned a little bit more and more. It's helpful also for me speaking French, because any product that I buy from the supermarket has all the instructions on the label in French as well as German.
3, like Italian, German.
Sometimes also Italian, yeah.
French.
But French was always there, so that was very helpful. But sometimes also, once it was funny, I was trying to be nice and cool with a friend of mine, German guy, and I'm talking to him in German. I'm going to visit him. He lives in another town. And then he tells me something in German, and what I understand is, yes, you have to get off at that station. And I understood, and I went there. I went to the station, to St. Gallen, and I called him like, hey, I'm here. He's like, I don't see you. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm here. Let me show you a picture. This is where I am. He looks at the picture. You're in St. Gallen. Why are you in St. Gallen? I said, but isn't that what you said? He was like, no. I said, you have to get off in Ville. And
really?
Yeah. And I said, what do you mean, Ville? And then I realized he said Ville. I thought Ville was like a border
around
or something. And he said, and then I ended up in the wrong town. And then it wasn't too far away, luckily. And then we met maybe a half an hour later. But,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
These kind of stories are happening a lot, actually.
This one I just remembered. It was very funny at the time, but sometimes otherwise maybe you don't understand each other, and then you just smile and pretend, and you just hope that the person, is fine, is not actually asking you something to answer to. That happens. Sign languages can help sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was for me one moment I remember. I'm sure there were others.
Yeah, but this is the first one which came in. Okay, good. Then you finish university and you start working for a Swiss company, potentially. No.
Not initially.
Okay, let's say in Switzerland.
Yes.
How was it working with Swiss people or in a Swiss company? Now you're working in a Swiss company.
Now I'm working in a Swiss company, yes. My first company was a pretty big American company.
Let them guess. Don't give the name.
In the healthcare industry, let's leave it there. I mean, there's still a lot of options, but yeah. I had a great time there. It was very, very international. I was working with people also mostly in other countries outside Switzerland. So there I couldn't get the feeling of the Swiss vibe, but I get an impression of the American style of leadership and, culture. That was for about almost 7 years. And then I moved to the Swiss company, which is still a pretty big international company now, but still you feel much more Swiss present. In the previous company, I almost didn't hear German in the office. Now we hear much more German. It's pretty different, and I was glad for the change.
Huh.
Yeah. The other company was good for the time that it was, but at some point I felt this American style was not so amusing anymore, and I was happy to be in Switzerland, in a Swiss company with the headquarters in Switzerland. More German environment that helped me also to develop the German a little bit. And I think in general people were much more focused on the business, on the work, and being still very kind, very polite, but much less just talking around the point and talking.
In the Swiss company.
Yeah. People are working very seriously. People were very helpful. In general, that was a good move. The Swiss people who I met there were also very open-minded and very good, at their job in general, and very, very dedicated. So, they're the company. They come, they do their job, very efficient. That felt.
That's also my
nice
experience.
Yeah.
Like very dedicated to work. They come, they sit, they leave everything behind, and they do work break, come back.
Respecting also your private life and the life balance. It's very important. They're also, just, it's funny, they come super early in the morning in general. It's quite impressive for me. I'm not very much a morning person. They are quite early birds, and they come, they do their work. They will take the break they need, but just quite efficient in general, and to the point very often. It's good.
Okay, we already talked about the work-life balance. I think it's also
it's a pretty good one. I think in Switzerland, you work. Of course, you have to work hard. The hours that you have to do, but at the end, at least until now, my experience, when I leave the office, I leave everything behind, and then I'm free. It's my weekend, and then there's a lot that you can do in Switzerland. The country is quite beautiful. There's maybe people don't realize it from abroad. You often hear, Switzerland's a bit boring, but at the end, it's what you make of it, and you can do anything you can do in another country. You can do it here, and it's small, so it's also good because then you have very good proximity to a lot of places. Infrastructure is very good, so you can very easily go anywhere, and if you want to go out of the city, you go out of the city. You're in the mountains.
Also with public transport.
Yes.
That's very important. We need to highlight this.
Yes, exactly. I've not been driving in Switzerland since I moved, and I've not needed it. The trains are so good. I even just enjoy taking the train and going for an hour and then getting somewhere. You can go very easily to the top of the mountains.
Yeah.
By cable car, by all the infrastructure, it's there. In the city, at least, I live in Zurich. You can do everything. You want to do, sports classes, you can do it. You want to go to the theater, concerts. I've been to so many concerts. I love concerts. Almost every band that I wanted to watch in my life, I watched in Zurich. You want to go to the opera, you can do it. There's everything is there, really. You want to go out and party until the morning, sure.
All good.
Yeah, you want to have a grill outside in the park, all good. You want to go for a swim, it's there, you can do it. So that's very good. What's funny also, some people during their lunch break, they just go to the lake or the river, swim,
come back. Yeah, that was also very interesting for me to observe it.
Yes, the first time I even heard about it, just go have lunch sitting by the lake, I was like, oh wow, so cool.
Oh. Agree. Okay, then next question. What is one of the habits that you picked up you never had before?
The first thing that comes to mind, everything that I have planned, let's say whenever I plan something, I have to put it in my calendar. Everything now goes in my calendar. First of all, otherwise I forget, or I start to forget more often. Once I had the wrong date in my mind for a concert, I missed it. That was a bit stupid. But everything now goes in my calendar. And every time I need to plan something, I have to check my calendar. Oh, do I already have something? Because more and more, things can be planned quite long in advance. I think the most in advance that something was planned was a dinner, probably 5 months ahead.
Oh, I never heard this.
I think this is the worst. We couldn't... it was every time someone was traveling or was somewhere, and that the best we could do was like, okay, well, then it's in 5 months or something.
Okay, my worst was really 3 months dinner also. But 5...
It was only once.
Okay.
It's very extreme, but very often it could be in 2 weeks or something like that. If it's in 2 weeks, it's common maybe to plan something in 2 weeks. I need to have it there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then if I plan something else, I need to make sure I don't have a conflict. So if I have nothing, I can still be spontaneous and just go out if someone is available, but not always. And then, I think just putting everything in the calendar. And
that's
just
great.
Planning and, probably you could say being very punctual. But at the same time, this is very easy to be punctual in Switzerland because with the public transport, it's extremely predictable. You know when you leave, you know when you arrive. You don't have a problem of traffic where it's not predictable. So it's not really a habit that I took, but it's new to be able to be very punctual all the time.
Naturally, it's coming also. Yes. If you are like...
Yeah. And now you feel bad if you're a little bit late going to meet someone.
Because there's no excuse.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Okay, we're almost done.
All right.
This is my last question.
Let's see.
How it feels right now? Like, is it like a home or is it still like an adventure?
By now, I would say it's like home. I mean, it's been many, many years. It took many years. Maybe after 5 years, I started to feel like this. Partially with the language barrier, it's not super simple. But eventually, you make your habits. There's the places that you like. You know how to walk without Google Maps to a lot of places. You understand more of the culture. You understand more of the language as well. You have more friends also. Eventually, some Swiss friends. And then, especially when you stay in an apartment, the same apartment for many years, you also really get used to your home. You customize it how you like. By now, I would say, it's becoming really like home. I'm
super glad for that.
Yeah.
Because it's very important as well.
Me as well, and also because I do feel that it's a good standard of life, and it's very comfortable for me being here. I feel comfortable. So that's important. If you're at home, you have to feel comfortable.
Thank you, Philippe, for sharing your valuable story with us.
My pleasure.
I'm sure people who will watch this will relate a lot of that.
Yeah, I hope so. Everyone have a different experience. I always wish people have a good experience in Switzerland. I certainly did. I wish this for everyone. And hope for a better time.
Okay. Do you have any specific question to me?
Sure. So first of all, do you relate in my experience? Do you feel the same, or are there some aspects where you feel completely different?
Like when I first moved to Switzerland, the first couple months, 2.5, 3 months was amazing. It was also very positive for me. But then I was not lucky as you. I didn't come here by university or something. When you are missing your own environment, social zone, circle, then that was quite challenging to able to make friends. And at that time I was not also working yet. And Swiss people are a little bit more, let's say, trying to keep their circle a little bit close, and they keep their friends for a long time, and they are not really open to take someone in immediately.
Or it takes a long time.
It takes a long time, and I was not patient enough, let's say. From that point of view, my experience was a little bit different. But besides that, yes, also my language barrier experience is very similar to yours. Like not train, but the tram. That was also, let's share, like I was in tram in Basel. I took the tram and there was an announcement and I was not understanding Swiss German at that time. I mean, of course I heard it, but I didn't get it. And I was not living in Basel at that time either, just working here. And then I was also not 100% sure about the route itself. Then I was feeling like, oh, something is different here. Like, it's going to another direction. And I ended up totally somewhere else that I don't know where I am, just because they changed the routes. And I was still waiting in the tram, and they come and told me, like, you need to leave now. And I said, I cannot.
Where I am.
I cannot. I don't know, where is it? That was.
All right. But interestingly, actually, in one of our first introduction days in the university, we had a lecture, a welcoming lecture for all international students. And one of the things that they said is probably your first 2-3 months will be amazing. You will be, super euphoric. And then it crashes, it really drops. And then you miss home and stuff. And then slowly you get to a stable level. They told us this because they told us, don't freak out. If this happens, it's normal. It happens to a lot of people. So that's also possibly what...
This is also very scientific, by the way. I mean, I've read a lot about it. It's very... The timelines, everything is... and respect all this process, all the timelines, the first 3 months, and then the drop. The drop was very heavy, and then start feeling like home again. And yes, this is
so it's totally normal.
Human psychology.
And if this happens to any new person, it's totally normal. One thing that helped me even more, and I just remembered when I moved here, 2 of my friends from Lebanon also moved to Switzerland at the same time, to Lausanne.
Could they manage?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But they moved to Lausanne, so French was the language that was even easier. But for me, that means already from day one in Switzerland, I have 2 friends from many years ago.
You were super lucky.
I had that, so we could already, the first 6 months we visited together a lot of places in Switzerland. First 6 months my brother was living in Geneva, another help. So I had a good landing. That was very helpful, and that's not the case for everyone, so I'm grateful for that.
Thanks again, Philippe.
My pleasure. Thank you for hosting.
It's my pleasure. Sharing. Hearing your story was very interesting. I'm pretty sure you like this story. If you like it, don't forget to hit the like button. This really helps the channel. And also share us with your own stories. If you're an expat, what was your first cultural shock? How did you handle it? Comment down to the below. See you.
Ciao.